Is it a sin to make a mistake or to be wrong about something? Well, there are actually several ways that we can think about this question. I'll try to cover a few of them here in this video, but there may be even more that we won't get to. But just think about this. You're in school. Maybe you have to go back in time to high school and you're taking a math quiz or something, and you know how to do the problem on the test, but you forgot to carry the one or whatever it is, and it leads you to a false answer, something that is not true. Is that a sin? You didn't arrive at that wrong answer on purpose. You simply made a mistake. Is that a sin? Or think about it like this: you're out driving and you turn the wrong way onto a one-way street. You didn't mean to, you didn't want to, you didn't try to, but you did. I've actually done that before. Probably because you were careless or you weren't paying attention to the signs or whatever the case may be. Or think about this: your wife and you are having an argument. You both firmly believe that you are correct, but of course you can't both be right. One of you is wrong or both of you are wrong. Is it a sin to be wrong in a disagreement with somebody? I think we have to say that to some degree, yes, it is. Because being factually wrong about something or even making a mistake goes against what is true. Making a mistake, even an innocent mistake, is contrary to the truth. That's what makes it a mistake, right? It wouldn't be a mistake or you wouldn't be wrong if there weren't some kind of standard of truth to tell you what is right and what is wrong, what is true and what is false. So to some degree, there has to be some kind of moral standing when it comes to the mistakes we make or when we're just even innocently wrong about something, maybe a historical fact even. We forgot a date or we switched something around in our heads. Truth, of course, is part of God's character and nature. God's righteousness describes how everything about God is true and right, and we will actually be judged according to God's righteousness, God's perfect truth. God's truth exposes what is wrong. His light exposes darkness. It exposes lies and wrong thinking and wrong behaving and wrong living. God is all about truth. It is part of who he is. And this is why I think in John 17, when Jesus prays for his followers before his crucifixion, he prays that we would be sanctified by the truth, that we would come to know the truth, and that our lives and thinking and believing would be defined by truth. And in so doing, we would become more like him, because Jesus himself is the truth. John 14, he says that he is the way, the truth, and the life, right? And anyone who would come to the Father must come through him, through the truth. And this is why Paul tells us in Philippians 4 that our thinking should be geared towards truth and righteousness and purity. And this is why Paul also says in 1 Timothy 6 to pursue things that are true and good and righteous, right? Because that's who God is. God is truth. He is righteousness. And everything about God is true and right. So to some degree, it has to be morally consequential to make even an innocent mistake, even one that you didn't intend to make, because those mistakes are certainly contrary to the truth. Again, that's how you know it's a mistake, is because there is a standard of truth and the mistake goes against that standard. Now, where this gets interesting, though, is our response when we realize that we have been wrong about something, or when we realize that we've made a mistake. And the Bible helps us there, too. In fact, in the book of James, chapter 4, Verse 17, James says, anyone who knows the good he ought to do and does not do it, for him it is sin. And so we enter into a state of certain sin when we know what is right and good and true, and we act against it anyway. If we know the truth, but we refuse to live according to that truth, we are acting in sin. So if you know you made an innocent mistake, but you have no desire to correct that mistake, and you instead continue to make that mistake over and over and over again, and you know it's wrong, it's no longer whoops, I just made a mistake. No, it becomes willful, it becomes a transgression, a trespass, something you do intentionally in spite of your knowledge of the truth. Because again, you know it's a mistake because you know the truth. And so if you reject the truth or deny the truth and just continue in that mistake, it's no longer some whoopsie-doodle innocent mistake, right? It's a willful sin. It's willfully crossing over that line. And so Christians then are to correct their mistakes. As soon as you know it's a mistake, you correct that mistake according to the truth. When a Christian makes a mistake, he should be the first one to admit the mistake and to turn from it and then pursue the truth. Christians should be the most willing of anyone to admit they were wrong and to turn then to the truth, because we as Christians have a desire to be right. And when I say to be right, I don't mean to be self-righteous, like look at me and how good and right I am. No, we have a desire to live according to the truth, right? So when people argue, when Christians argue in particular, they should outdo one another in admitting the possibility that they are wrong, right? If there's a disagreement between two people about something, two Christians over something, each one of them should have a disposition to want to know the truth and to be willing to admit if they are wrong about something, even, just some random fact, right? If I'm wrong about it, I don't want to live according to what's wrong. I want to live according to God's truth, because God is truth. We should not even be okay with making a mistake on a math test, because that's not true. Again, it's not something to be ashamed of or beat yourself up over or feel guilty about, but rather our disposition as God's people, because we know God, because we know the truth, our disposition as Christians should be to turn from error as fast as we possibly can and pursue the truth. So can you be wrong about something or make a mistake? Well, we all are wrong, and we all do make mistakes all the time. But the difference is that Christians don't live there. We correct our mistakes. We admit our wrongs. We repent of living according to, what is false. And then we turn towards the truth. So is it a sin to be wrong about something or to make a mistake? I think to some degree we have to say that there is a moral element there that we should not disregard. And we should also affirm that as soon as we do make mistakes, because again, we're all going to be wrong about who knows how many things between now and the rest of our lives, the disposition of the Christian is to turn from that as fast as possible and continue to pursue the truth.